Hi everyone. All right, welcome to Opal Oracle. If you are new here, welcome back. Of course, if you're returning, or if we haven't seen each other in a while, nice to see you, meet you. Okay, so we will be going through Jupiter, this Jupiter transit, Jupiter in Aries. If you happen to have Jupiter in Aries, we're going to be looking at the ascendant. You could view this, I suppose, from your moon sign or sun sign, if you please, as well. I feel like all information is a piece of the puzzle. If you do happen to have the ascendants, the signs that are mentioned, this will be the strongest energy. And we will go in order of the zodiac, starting with Aries, it transiting through this space. There is already a video that I made, just basically a discussion. It's about an hour long of when this moves, starts to move, which is right around the solstice, 2022. I would highly suggest tapping into that just to understand a bit more of the energy. I will link that video below. Just so you know also, this is a bit of what happens over on Patreon. If you were curious, I'm not very good at promoting what I do. I just kind of let it flow, but if you don't tell people, then they don't know. So I do also have a Patreon page, so if you like this video and would like to learn more of this, like in this caliber, then please feel free to check it out if you want to. There's a link below. There's also in my About section and on my homepage on YouTube. So, Jupiter in Aries. The one thing that I noticed with this that was important, I was trying to look at some of the aspects, right, to see these bigger stars, like, again, Saturn's moving into Pisces, Neptune stays in Pisces, Jupiter moves into Aries, but since we're talking about Jupiter, I was trying again to see what bigger stars are talking to it, right? And the two things I noticed was, so we have Jupiter and Aries here, right, in the center. And this is the focal point of this intention in this space that we're talking about. Now, Aries, on one side of this is Taurus. So here's Uranus over here. And on the other side of it, we're going to have Neptune and Saturn eventually. So the thing is about when we're talking about this, they call this an aspect, right? Which means to view or to see. The thing is this, if again, we're in Aries here, I'll show you a visual. So here's Aries, right? So Jupiter's going to be in Aries. Well, the thing about that here, let's do it this way. So Jupiter's in Aries. Again, we have Uranus in Taurus. And then we have Neptune's going to be here in Pisces. And then again, eventually Saturn will also move into this space. Now, the thing is about these, on either side of any sign, is a blind spot. It's not the worst blind spot because you can turn your head to the left, you can turn your head to the right, but Aries energy kind of has a bit of forward energy, right? It's a directive. Jupiter too. It's like, let's go forward. Let's do this. You want to make sure that you look left and you look right before you head out, right? Take that next step. And the other video again talked about this more in depth, but it really showed up here. So what's important to remember is Uranus is about great change, right? And Neptune and Saturn, let's take the difficulty of it so that we're aware of it, right? And so that nothing comes creeping up. So again, Uranus, change, big change, right? Both fixed energies, big change. Then we have Neptune and Saturn, which on a difficult, a foundational level, if you will, represent doubt. So doubt in the change. You have doubt and change on either side of us. Okay. Now, Aries is I am. Jupiter is an expansion and a blessing of who you are and that which you connect to, the other side of it, right? We go from Aries, we go across the road, here's Libra, right? Other people. So, and what is the blind spot on the other side? Capricorn and Scorpio, which is all about, like, do I trust other people? Do I trust what I'm building? And then again, fear and change, fear and doubt, doubt and change and fear. It's like a round, right? So we need this Aries, Jupiter, I guess, to be able to push through, to make the changes that we need to make, right? I didn't mean to be so choppy about that. To make the changes that we need to make, that are good for our soul's growth, that are elevating people in their wisdom, having people come closer to who they really are in their soul, or to just feel better about who they are, and again, where they're going. Because it's not a Taurus, I'm here in this little field, in this little box. This is Aries, Mars forward energy. This is Jupiter in this fire. And then we have Jupiter energy, which is forward and fire. So it's important to recognize one's own confidence, but I suppose at times it could be challenged, or, just so be aware that the confidence will always be there, but there will be tests as we go along, okay? All right, that's where I want to leave that part. That was a little bit longer than what I thought it would be. 4 minutes. We're at 6 minutes because I didn't start the timer. That's okay. I'm going to try to do about 3 minutes per sign. So let's talk about Aries. I'm going to look at my pizza pie chart and my notes. So Aries, you have this going through your first house. This is also collective energy. So something also to be aware of. So this is going to be an expansion in who you are and what you can accomplish as a person. This can definitely help a person feel, again, more secure, right? Less withdrawn, right? Jupiter, for instance, was just in Pisces. Now we're going into Aries. It's like, okay, now here, things are drying up. Things are not so murky. You don't have to have your galoshes on anymore, hiding in the swamp, I see. So now, as this is your first house, although the transit expresses, certain astrologers will state, especially Robert Hand, that these houses shouldn't necessarily be taken so foundationally, because of course you have your whole map that's affecting that. So, but for the sake of this reading being general, this is definitely, again, an expansion in what you know. But this is going to come for what you know, again, your confidence, your ability, your talent, etc. Hey, baby. This is definitely going to come through the help of other people too, so be open to that. It wouldn't be a time where you're like, I'm going to do everything on my own, okay? It would be more of a, okay, understanding that, you need other people to create. And if there are any childhood hang-ups, Leo representing the 5th house here, that will be something that squares that Uranus. It's like, any childhood wounds, any inner child work that has not been touched on, or anything that's been buried, could also be, because Scorpio's in your 8th house there, that's going to be highlighted. So also be aware of that and understand that you can take up constructive efforts in making things happen, right? And feeling better, perhaps, again, about what you are. This could, I guess, for some, it would be helpful to remember that this can cause arrogance. It can be like where you think, especially Aries rising, dear Lord, something that can say, well, I have all the answers, and I'm as, you know, it could be an arrogance where it's like, I know all the answers, or it could even be that diluted like doubt where you could say, well, I'll never figure it out. Like, don't try not to get stuck in that, because, and please be open to other people entering into your life, because this is also where you're going to find more courage in yourself, okay? This is also a time for you to, if you are sharing your creative talents, okay? I would say this is not a time to change your job, but you would also want to look at your finances, okay? And be aware of, you know, the way you talk about your own value is going to be indicative to how much fear has to be dealt with, okay? So no low self-esteem, no too high self-esteem. It's that Libra energy. You gotta stay in the middle, okay? And please remember that this is a major cycle of growth in your life, okay? And you can really discover or uncover or open up, you know, share what you really are as an individual, and the world wants to know, okay? Okay. Let's go to, now we're going to go to Taurus. We're going to go on the way of the zodiac. So Taurus, this is affecting your 12th house. I'm not going to look at this book for reference. I just want to be creative in what we can see here. Just a minute. So Taurus, this affects your 12th house. Okay. So need another layer. Just a minute. Where did it go? There we go. I have an additional mini pizza pie that I like to add on here. Gives me extra information to have like another layer at times. Okay. Taurus rising. Okay, this is the lesson that you learned last year. Okay? Your spiritual lesson, your what you've learned from your parents, what you've learned from your children, what you've learned from your family, how you feel about your family, how you feel about what you have learned from your relationships, especially, I guess, over, it could be the last year, last 2 years, last 3 years. For some of you, this could even go back as far as 12 years ago. Okay? Which connects to the Time Lord. That's another story. So, this, I suppose, could bring you into a place of great ability to be able to meditate, to be able to understand the power of quieting your mind, right? Because Aries is on one side of you, that's the head. Gemini's on one side of you, which is the information that goes on in the head. That's probably why sometimes Taurus is like, oh my God, I can't even. Like, I got to keep good boundaries because it's overwhelming. But remember, for you, for everyone, you got to look left, you got to look right. So I forgot to mention that. For you, Taurus, you want to pay attention to Gemini and Aries, okay? Gemini and Aries are gonna be your left, look right. You could look at these in your house. This is also how you communicate who you are. This is how you communicate about realizing that you are how you feel, okay? You are how you feel, okay? You are how you feel. So if you happen to feel low, or again, it's confusing, or it's, again, say that doubt of the change and all this is coming in, and you lose that confidence for some reason, although I see you've already been here in another time, so you're good. Like, you're aware and you have the intelligence to do it. this is when you'd really want to go in and take some quiet time. You shut your eyes, you shut off your brain, you shut off, you could also wear like, I don't know, there's something about the head. Like, I don't know if you wear red on your head or if you need to use cool water or if you just need to touch your head and touch, like, it's like here, 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 here. Maybe it's a bit of tapping could also be helpful for you, Taurus. Okay? Remember also that touching your body, you hold a lot of stress in your body. A lot of dense energy is always in Taurus, even if you're positive. If you touch your body, if you give it, Aries is like, you know, like things like that. It's almost like I see like Sufi sounds or chanting or whatever. Sometimes the meditation could be that. Sometimes the meditation is to be quiet. That'll also keep you on track so that the relationships that you have with people, whether this is at work, your day-to-day, however that goes, there's peace in it. You know what I mean? It's also more of a spiritual connection. Okay, we'll leave it like that. Okay, Gemini. Okay, so Gemini, for you, this is going to be affecting your 11th house, okay? This to me also kicks down into your 2nd house a little bit. So your left-right that you want to be aware of is Taurus and Cancer, okay? Taurus and Cancer. Beyond, we'll just leave it like this. Taurus and Cancer are your left-rights, okay? This is, how do I explain that? You don't need an extra layer. Let's make something simple. We want to make it simple. So, Aries being in your 11th house is actually really, really, really beautiful. This goes back into when Jupiter was in Sagittarius. I can't think of that timeline right now, but that is important. That and there's a lot of positivity in this. To me, the undercurrent here is that 11th house to me is where you as an individual achieve your goals. You know, it has to do, again, yes, with other people, most certainly, to make that happen. But it's also like who to work with, okay? There could be, some of you, this could really open up some beautiful creative energy. This could also bring blessings in ways of the people that are going to come into your life. This could be friends coming into your life. It could be where the people that you meet, right, again, be open to putting yourself out there, because the people that you connect with through your own efforts of being like, here I am, or here, this is what I'm doing, or here, this is what I've created, right? Whatever you're trying to share there, you know, the way you see, the way you think, like your ideas, again, there's so much goodness that could come from that. This could also be where you could give the gift of, I see giving who you are to the world. And I guess that a part of how that happens, beyond your own efforts and enthusiasm, and keeping your eyes on the prize, that's very important, is for you to always is big. If you ever get funky in your feelings and you don't feel confident, or you're feeling like when are you going to get there, like a timing thing, This is where you go silent. Like, don't talk. Don't talk. Feel. Don't think, feel. And even if it doesn't feel good for some reason or another, that quiet is going to help a lot. This also help you in ways of softening your communication. Right? Because loud talk, fast talk, brash talk, really strong outward, usually people kind of shut down on that. Right? When someone speaks slowly, when there's a maturity with that because there's patience. Right? Do you see what just happened there? So I guess it's being really conscious in who you are in your circles too. Just a second. I want to look at one other thing. It's like your voice could change. Meaning, I suppose, since you rule communication, it's kind of like, you know, when you finally can speak your own language, you realize that you're speaking truly from your authentic self. Not that maybe some of you haven't been. You know, there's a lot of really awesome advanced people here. Probably more, you know, it's impressive. But the point is that it's like where you finally become a little bit more confident in what you're saying, so maybe you don't have to rush, right? Which helps you to be understood, because that's all you really want through your communication, is to be understood, to have that be something that's inspiring, right? And I would definitely say that there's something about Scorpio too. So maybe it's just like thinking before you do, right? Before you say, before you do. Okay, Cancer. Okay, Cancer, this is in your 10th house. This is pretty powerful. So for some of you, this could be some really beautiful expansion in your job. This could be like a promotion or a raise if we're going to take it at a foundational level. If you do happen to be doing really well in the world, like you're putting yourself out there, things like this, and there's a lot of blessings in that space in relation to other people, and like this could even be for some of you, some of your dreams and wishes coming true, where you finally feel like your effort matters or is respected or appreciated there's a new level of that. Just remember to not burn yourself out, okay? There's no way that you can give 100% of the time. Let's have an extra layer here just to see. This could be solidifying some things that you already know, or things that you have been studying also. Like solidification in the sense where you feel more confident about who you are at your job, in public, etc. Like, and we mentioned this on the bigger talk of this transit, where Cancer energy has really been hiding in their shell some ways, like a bit. And that's fine, because the world is an emotional place, and I get it. It can feel unsafe sometimes. So this is also coming out of your shell. Okay, you don't want to be afraid of who you are. And this is also being able to, when you have big feelings, to be able to like keep them in check, but not because you're not trying to feel, because Cancer always has to feel. That's your job of being in wherever you are in anyone's map, is like you have to feel that hardcore, you know? And that's why we're humans. So your left, right, that's important to look at is Taurus and Pisces. Okay. Oh, that's interesting we said it that way. Okay, well, look at that. That's okay. So I guess that's what you have to look at, which again is about don't doubt the change. Don't doubt the changes that are happening. Feel confident that, you know, for instance, this year is a 7. It's a chariot year. It's a Cancerian year. It's a year of success. It's a year of forward movement. And I want you to believe in what you have learned again, and that even though some things have been slow, that's actually the best way to gain. I feel like we talked about this in December, to gain what it is that you have been wanting to have in this life. Okay. And if for some reason you are not feeling that, then Gemini and Leo would be, you kind of have a double. Gemini and Leo, what is this about? This is a conversation in the heart, right? This is speaking from your heart. But for you, this is, okay, if you get too much in your head, you get nervous a little bit with all these changes, because again, this is like you're taking up a leadership position, Cancer, okay? But the thing about that is, out of all the cardinal signs, you and Libra are kind of like in the backdrop. Aries and Capricorn are like, I'm the leader, right? Think about it. This is the general and the soldier. These are out there. Libra and Cancer are like, wait, I don't want to fight. I don't want to have a problem. But it's like life's full of challenges and problems, and that's okay because we solve them and it's no big deal. So one way that you could deal with this is through breath work. You could also do, remember, arms and hands. Scorpio, you pull Scorpio's energy, and they taught us this lesson. Brush it off. Brush your hands off. Shake your arms. Shake your hands. You could even, like Taurus said, you sextile them. Tap your lungs, you know. And again, like big breath work could also be helpful. I would also say if you have any creative endeavors or thing that you like to do, you want to be confident that you and what you are as a creative person has the ability to be something that can also, in some ways, provide for you in ways of security. Okay? This could also be talking about what you are trying to create in this life. This could be bigger dreams or goals. This could be communities you're trying to build. It could be a business you're trying to build, what have you. You have to be able to be, someone's like, okay, you know when someone's trying to like start a nonprofit or like Shark Tank or whatever, it's like, okay, you have, you know, basically, can you sum up what you're talking about in a short period of time to be able to kind of convince someone, or at least help them understand what it is that you're trying to do? It's refining something. Okay. And again, there's a great level of maturity here, and you have gained enough knowledge prior to be able to make this happen. Now, I will say probably relationships with family could be better, which is a good thing. More loving. Home could also feel better. Things like this. How you feel about your family. Remember, childhood things will be triggered during this transit, and we have to, you know, you have Scorpio in the 8th house, you want to be able to let that go. And I would sense for most of you, this has been something that's kind of your whole life. So maybe it's time to finally be like, okay, boom. I'm not going to let my moon world, my emotional world, affect what it is that I can create in this life. You know what I'm saying? I love you. Okay, Leo. Leo. All right, so for you, Leo, this is in your 9th house. I actually really like that for you. This could be where some of you decide to go to school, or take a class on something. This could also be just in a general sense, like an expansion of knowledge. You could also be blessed through your mother or your father, depending on the way what's going on. I feel like because this is Aries for you, this is more fatherly energy, or this could also be blessings from the men in your family or men in your life. Interesting. What is this pointing down at? Oh, your creative energy could be off the chain. It could be so good where you're just like, say there's projects you've been working on or ideas or new things, like things where you've sort of been thinking about them. Like you've, in that Pisces world, you were using your imagination. You were like, okay, like I could do this. I know I like to do that. I believing more in yourself, even if there are questions. It's like now you're like, yes, okay. I'm going to learn more. I like this. Or some of you, I've been doing this. I'm going to expand on this now and make it more of a reality. Okay. Interesting energy. So your left, right has to do with Virgo and Cancer, which is, again, it's so interesting. All of the signs, the left, rights, have to do with being quiet with how they feel whenever they get confused. Or if you're lacking energy, or if you need to replenish, right? Virgo is a very silent, it's a monk, right? And Cancer is being at the beach. So for some of you, this could be going and sitting by water somewhere, or being quiet in the tub, or where, again, it's just like being quiet with how you really feel. I would also say on particular moons, this could be, we talked about this in the general overcast, where Scorpio moons particularly are very helpful. Yes, to help you to feel more confident about where you're going. Now, part of the way that you can succeed, right, because this is kind of up in your MC, which is really beautiful. You already have a yoga there anyway because of previous work. So now it's kind of like maybe some of you settle into your, friend zone better, or you start to really like where your neighborhood, or where you're, again, like you're starting to build more of a loving connection to, how do I explain that? Oh, you're letting your guard down a little bit. Or a lot of bit if you want. And you should, because again, you've... Because remember, most Leos are Cancers. So you're actually, most Leos are actually ruled by the moon. Woodpecker. I would also say if during this transit, if well, this is a slow and steady thing too. Like this is becoming more regimented in your day-to-day. It's becoming more responsible in your day-to-day. It's like leveling up to this new maturity again. It's more about learning more about timing, learning more about taking care of your body also. This could be brain health, it could be bone health, heart health, things like that. Okay? Hi, Zumi. All right, we'll leave it like that. Let's do 34. Virgo. Virgo. Okay, so for you, this is in your 8th house. It's a pretty strong place for this to be. Hi, sweetheart. So let's look at this positively. I feel like that's a good way to start this transit out. Let's look at this positively. Whatever happens during this transit for the next 5 months, let's look at this positively. Please remember to say that to yourself, okay? Now, Jupiter in the 8th house is definitely going to open up, and it's going to ask you to be more intimate, right? It will ask you, there will be questions about the intimacy that you have with others, and also how intimate you are with yourself and your own feelings, right? Not just being in your head. Because you could take this whole transit and just make it intellectual if you want to. Like where you just learn more about astrology or tarot or occult things. Or some of you could totally go into the rabbit hole and like figure out things that nobody else knows, or get into topics that most people, again, it's like kind of occult or hidden. You could learn a lot that way. But I also feel like part of how you're going to actually achieve, I guess, what the soul is wanting in that intimate space is to be more open emotionally with the circles that you're a part of, okay? And to learn the lessons deeply from childhood if you have not yet. This could also be for some of you if you've been working through that inner child, kind of the deep in the past, this 8th house lesson, and trying to figure out who you really are versus making that a part of being defined by ultimately by the past. You actually could come to a place where you sort of, I heard, pass the test, which is going to give you a new opportunity to be able to level up in who it is that you are. Awesome. Hi, sweet pie. Let me see if I can see anything else. Virgo. This is definitely a big space of learning for you. Okay. Remember, oh, you're doing something different. So your left-right affects your 7th and 9th house. Okay? 7 and 9. So you're actually teaching us a new thing in a new way. Good. I like that. Maybe a big part of this is also believing in who you are. There's also something with Saturn for you. It's almost like Saturn becomes Jupiter. Didn't we talk about this on that magnetic pulse? Do you remember? It's like something doubles. Something can totally double, but it comes through your ability to be you want to be really practical in this time. Like, for instance, if you're going to do a lot of learning, you would be asking yourself, okay, what would be the purpose of studying this? What is the point of why I'm doing this? What are you trying to achieve? Okay? And then if you know what the answer is, it's almost like Saturn's going to ask a lot of questions. If you know what that answer is, then Saturn turns into Jupiter. So sometimes it could feel like there's a block. If that's the case, then, and say your upper back is really sore, or like you're not feeling very strong in yourself, then this is where you want to check in, like, am I mad at anyone? Because this could also be where any anger that has been stuffed down. Oh, yeah. Any anger that's been stuffed down could also come up to help you resolve it. Whether this is, and I feel like for Virgo, most of the time, it is self-hatred. Almost like Scorpio energy, right? It's like self-hatred, self-deprecation. You get down on yourself a lot, right? That's not worth it. That doesn't actually help. I mean, it's good to know, for instance, sometimes where it's like, okay, wait, say guilt, for instance. It's just like, well, you know, I'm mad at that person. Okay, well, why are you mad at that person? Right? If you feel like you can see something really clearly and you know you're not supposed to go that way, or it would be not worth your time, you got to know what's worth your time. Okay? And I see again, and to believe in yourself. Because you, like Cancer, almost has a bit of, okay, what you have in your head, how do you communicate that now? You know, in a way that, so again, you are understood so that you feel more calm in your mind. Okay. You could have some creative talents that also just come out of nowhere, or some of you, again, whatever you want to learn about, it really, you could open a door to something that's really beautiful, but I guess you always want to kind of ask yourself, like, even if you get to, you decide that it's worth it to open that door and you want to, and you know why you want to open it, it's like once you see what that is, you know, whether, why see, don't close the door behind you. Until you answer the questions. Interesting. All right, I have to feed Zumi. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. One last thing, Virgo. Make sure that you are taking care of, responsible for your pets, for your children. Those are your two big responsibilities, like your day-to-day. And actually, some of you could decide to be celibate during this transit also. But remember, the intimacy factor can still exist outside of sexual energy, right? That's really important. Remember that the intimacy, you can be very intimate in your own mind, but a big part of this lesson is also sharing that emotionally, outwardly, okay? So, Libra, you have this in your 7th house. Let's see, plus 1 minute. So, Jupiter in your 7th house, well, those of you trying to have children, this isn't the best transit for that. Jupiter on the descendant kind of blocks children if you're in that space. But this could also very much bring lots of people to you. Now, I feel the need to emphasize this for some reason. 7th house is the house of open enemies. It could be, because it's any person, right? It is also the house of marriage. So technically there could be blessings with, again, people that come into your life, especially over these next 5 months. But it's almost like one of those lessons where you're like, okay, you're such an understanding person. So you got to know who is your friend, who is your enemy, who is your frenemy, etc. And this is pointing down at Capricorn. Just a second. Libra. I want to see what Robert Han has to say. I need like just a minute. You love other people's opinions. It helps other people, right? It helps you learn. Jupiter in the 7th house. Yes. Okay. So the other people in your life are going to, so that Jupiter's going to look back at you. It's going to shine a light back on you. It's doing it to everybody, but because you're a Libra specifically, it's very helpful. And this is in the house of other people. So again, there can be really wonderful people that come into your life. So it's going to, because it looked down at Saturn, you're going to need to maintain that which is in your life that's good, relinquish or remove that which is not good, because you kind of have a double Mars there. Okay? Let me see here. This doesn't necessarily like represent marriage, but it can make the relationships that you have, marriage, other one-on-one partnerships, this can even be people you work with, where the energy of it is more positive, right? Which is a good thing. And so you can also encounter a lot of people who can help you in what you're trying to do. This could also be a very good time, I guess, to, if you need any assistance. This could be finding an awesome counselor, finding a spiritual advisor, finding a good doctor, finding a good lawyer, like anybody that you need. Okay, Libra needs somebody else instead of being the one that's being the person that is of service. You need someone to be of service to you. You can find that, whatever you need. Okay. Just a second. I suppose to some, this could also be people from afar, or like people from another place, foreign contacts, things like that, people that speak other languages or like have different backgrounds from you. Could also be coming into your life. Could also be people that are older than you, or that which you like admire, you could be attracted to. I remember this old reading. I'm remembering this old reading of Libras that talked about where the people that you are meant to have in your life, you need to respect them. And I suppose if there's anybody that you don't respect, which in essence would mean they don't respect you, then it's like there's a boundary there. And it's like, nope. Which is kind of cool because it's going to give you a new opportunity to be able to do things that are more in line with you. Just a second. So I see the houses sixth house and eighth house. And I heard 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? So I guess this is having people in your life that you appreciate, having people in your life that appreciate you. That could be coming to you. And I guess anyone who doesn't, it's just like, it's okay for you to be what you would consider cold, meaning you have boundaries. For some of you, this could be really strongly with your family. For others of you, it could be. I keep going down in this moon energy, so you also want to be aware of your own emotional well-being. Okay. Remember, don't doubt the changes that are happening. Whether this is things that are coming to you or that which is going away from you. I mean, we can't take everything with us, so it's kind of like being aware of that. Now, I keep looking up, let's look up at the top. I keep looking up at Cancerian energy. So this is also feeling better about your job for some of you. It's feeling more loving. I would also say this could be like somebody else, Leo, I think, talked about this, like feeling more heart connected. It's like Leo Virgo energy. It's like feeling more heart connected in the bigger circles that you're a part of. Okay? It's feeling like work feels more like, starts to feel again like family, like things feel comfortable again there. I would also say like joining some kind of like creative thing or that you want to learn about. Something you do with your arms or like do with your hands, like this kind of energy. Yeah, what your arms and your hands. It's like, what hobby do you do like that? Okay? Because you also want to, because you know what? There could be in your quiet time, you may actually also figure out more about a secret talent. Like if you tap into what really turns you on. Do you know what I mean? You're like, wow, when I get into that, or when I think about that, like it just makes you so excited. You know, like that could also be something. And so remember, who you are is what you're going to attract to a certain extent. But remember, parasites are also attracted to light as well as the moth. So you have to know what's healthy for you or not through who you are and where you have been hurt before. Not having that hurt stop you from being intimate or connecting or expanding, allowing that into your life, allowing things into your life, but just understanding boundaries better, right? Because it's almost one of those things where like, you know what you need to know now. Like it's like your Mercury is becoming more exalted. Okay. Oh, by the way, we talked about that. You have like Virgo, it would be 6 and 8. Although it was 2, 4, 6, 8. You could look at those houses, 2, 4, 6, 8. Those houses are what this has something to do with appreciate. Okay. Scorpio. Oh, excuse me 1 second. Okay, Scorpio, this will be going through your 6th house. Okay. That one's a little bit rough, kind of like Virgo. Now, initially, we're going to look at it and be like, boo. So what did they say? Let's take remember, when anyone is ever scared in the zodiac, you go to Virgo and you will find your peace, right? What does that mean? Virgo's about quiet. It's about God, faith. Where you are, okay, on the path. So, like Virgo said, let's find the positive in this, right? Jupiter in the 6th house. Oh, some of you could make a lot of money in this time if you want to. It comes through your own effort, though. And however, it's like however much you've overcome your own fear or acknowledged it. This is also letting go of your anger, putting your guard down, things like that. Because this is like Jupiter in the 6th house is the house of the battlefield. But when Aries is in the 6th house, the soldier is there. This is the blessed soldier. So this is like the soldier that makes it, that goes to war, went to war, and then came home and doesn't have PTSD. You know what I mean? It's I see it's a blessing in your opportunity. I suppose this could be good karma too. Just a second. I want to see what Robert Hand has to say. He's smarter than I am. Okay, he says that this is a very good time for any kind of work and for fulfilling duties that contribute to your own personal growth. It's a transit that represents good health. It says, with the one exception noted below. I'm going to just read you straight out of this book. It says, very often the demands of this house come into conflict with one's personal growth, and especially freedom. For this house is the house of fulfillment of duty, responsibility, and service. It says one's ego needs are gratified here, but only at a level that most people cannot readily understand. Squirrels are fighting with each other, playing, I can't tell. It says, with Jupiter in this house, you are able to make progress in the world precisely because of these matters. And you realize this. Work is very fulfilling, I saw that, and enjoyable to you now, giving you a sense of purpose and structure for your life. Quite often, this comes about through an improved job situation, better working conditions, or even a new job, or with better pay and opportunity for, again, self-development. You are quite ready to take on, right? You are worthy. Stay on the path. You are quite ready to take on even more work if you can. And even though you probably won't be promoted, okay, interesting, you will certainly gain the esteem of your superiors and those under you, and will ultimately put you in a good position. So it's about gaining respect, which you want more than money anyway. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you need money to survive in this world, but and be worth your time, yes. But let's keep going. It says this is an unusually excellent period for health because Jupiter gives your body physical strength and vitality. However, you have to be careful about gaining weight. For this is a growth transit on the physical level as well. It says you should be careful of fat or sweet foods, for they will not only cause you to gain weight, but they are also not good for your pancreas. Avoid any kind of overindulgence. This could also be if any of you are an alcoholic or a drinker, that could be something that you want to kind of put in check, because you can tell by your feet whether the inside of your body is healthy or not. Okay. You know, your feet, your ankles, things like that. You know, if they're swollen, what have you. So this could also be getting good exercise. Could also help you to keep your mind in check. Let me see here. This isn't in conjunct for you, so sometimes that's a little bit challenging. So it's just an adjustment. It's not like where you have to, again, make major changes. You already know that this is the house of fulfillment, duty, responsibility, and service. If you can say to yourself, I am responsible, I am dutiful, I am ready to fulfill my duty. And this is the house, to me, another house of God. It's a karma house. So it's kind of like, what am I supposed to do? I'm ready for it. And it's kind of like what comes to you is going to be something that's going to teach you and to help you to understand. Now, I would say, please don't burn yourself out. Because a big part of this is also, again, your own growth as an individual. Okay? You do have Leo up in your house of work. So this could also, again, where you're feeling better about your job, if you've had any qualms with that, or if your heart really wasn't in it, or you were feeling kind of like there was a lack of emotion in something. It's like, I feel like you have more of the determination to do what you need to do. Let's see here. I do see an increase of money or resources in some kind of way also. But again, they come through your effort, right? And it's not like a person would say, oh, well, I want to make more. It's just like, okay, you're being of service and you know that's what you need to do and you're rewarded for it, right? You don't hold the door open to hold the door open because you want someone to hold the door open for you, of course, or put the money in the tip jar because it says karma cup on it. You know that isn't how karma works, right? You got to be pure about it. So your left right is you actually have kind of a cross, which is Gable, which represents a gift. You, Libra, and Virgo all have this, where it is Libra, Sagittarius. So I do see some of you it would be very helpful if you don't drink during this transit. Or again, curb things that are anything that's in where there's overindulgence. You could save a lot of money that way. Your kidneys will feel better. Your pancreas feels better. Things like that. Pay attention to your health because, again, there's a lot of blessings that come through that. Also, 5 and 7, which goes back to Libra, is one of your biggest. So we're going to talk about balance, right? Because even if you're in that service mode, that dutiful mode, and feeling good about work and this and that, it's just like you got to make sure that you have a good balance where, you talk to, you make time for your extended family, that you talk to your mother, you put some good energy into your job, you take time to be, I feel like being a part of a spiritual group in some way or another is also very helpful. I could see some of you also joining AA or some kind of it's a place of sobriety is what's needed. It's like, that's interesting. Okay, we'll leave it like that. What do we got here? 21. Let's do 2110 plus 2110. Okay, Sagittarius. Sagittarius, this is in your 5th house. Okay, so what do I see here? So this is a trine to you. That's a nice energy. So it's sort of, you're ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter will be sort of trining Jupiter. That's a really pretty energy, actually. I guess this could be better in a surface foundational sense. This could be better relations with your children. It could be where your children also maybe move afar, or children that live at a distance. It could also be where how do I see this? Could be very creative in this time too. Very, very creative in this time. But it would kind of be like creativity that has practicality around it. Right? Where you're kind of like, ooh, I have a good idea, right? Sagittarius is full of ideas. Oh, I have this idea. Oh, I'm thinking about doing this. Virgo talked about this. They talked about asking yourself, okay, why do I want to do this? Or why do I want to learn this? It's like you have an idea, and it's more of how do I apply, what's the sentence? Well, I guess you want to ask yourself what the practical nature is of the creation. There has to be practicality in it, but also spirituality, right? Interesting. Just a second. Oh yeah, this is again creative self-expression, right? Especially Sagittarius rising strongly. It's like creative. It's like finding the courage to be yourself. Do you know what I mean? This could also be love relationships. Some of you could start dating someone that you really, really like, that's also like on the same path. Like not like they're the same person as you, but it's like where you balance each other out. Yes, I saw that too. If there is any creative endeavors that you like, that you're a part of, or you're in some kind of artistic field or something like that, you may also have the possibility of being able to make more money than usual, or make money from it if you haven't already started it during this transit. Okay, again, it's kind of like, oh, I like to do this. Again, it's like what I was saying, like, oh, I have this idea. Oh, I love to do this. Like, it feels so good to do that, and I feel really zen when I'm in it. But then it's like, okay, well, how are you going to share that with the world? Do you know what I mean? Maybe some of you write poetry, or some of you are, I like, for instance, lately I've been like, I love pottery. I was inspired by going to this bazaar this weekend. I met this person that makes these cups, and they build their own kiln, and it's a really long, drawn out, like deeply intensive process, but it's like it's so creative in the end, right? I mean, it's creative throughout, but it also is now, like, for instance, if that person never showed up at that event or put themselves out there, like, oh, here's my little booth, or here's my website, or here's my whatever, like then no one would know. Maybe it's one of those things where, again, you feel good enough about yourself, and you don't have as much fear about it. Oh, I like this. It says, it is possible to have a truly authentic relationship with someone during this transit in which each of you know who the other is. Yes, we talked about that. Good. 1 second. Oh, this could also be something where, again, some of you could have people from other places, right? It's like that could be a way for you to also achieve your goals, is people from foreign places, or like, for instance, think about, what is it, like Jimi Hendrix didn't do so hot in the United States, right? But then when he went to England, everyone was like, oh my God, right? And it changed the whole dynamic because he was like, fuck it, I'm going to go tour over there. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, this didn't work here. Well, let me try it there. And not being afraid, again, because it wasn't like Jimi Hendrix was like, oh, I want to be, so the whole world knows Jimi Hendrix, which now they totally do, right? It was because he just loved to play guitar, and share his creative expression. So be open to that, okay? One last thing. This is also going to bring, Rubber Hand says something about bringing greater freedom of self-expression. You do not feel it necessary to hide from the world anymore, even if you did before. You don't have to hide. But I will say, because of this, especially depending on your level of confidence prior, you want to make sure there's no egotism with it, right? Jupiter and Aries, the overview other video talked a lot about this, where we're not supposed to be overbearing. Right? Like, oh, my art's the best. Imagine Jimi Hendrix being like, I'm the best guitarist ever. It's just like, no, he was like, played it the other way, like Kurt Cobain. He's just like, I just like to play. So keeping it chill, keep it Libra, right? Keep it mellow there. Okay, moving along. Capricorn. One last thing, Sagittarius, I'm sorry. 4 and 6 is your house, are your houses. In general, this is your duties and obligations to home or family. That could play a role during this transit for these next 5 months also, okay? Or at least divvying it up, seeing what you can do, what you can handle, what you can't handle, you got to know, okay? Capricorn. What do we got? 28, 34. So Capricorn, this will be going through your 4th house. Jupiter in the 4th house. I actually really like that, personally. You will definitely be seeking peace and inner security, right? So this is, what's fourth house? It's the moon energy to me, moon sun. So this is your personal life, it's family, it's home, comfort, also your innermost sense of self, again, that peace. You are seeking it in this time, and I see what you shall find what you seek, right? Ask and you shall receive. So these areas of your life are definitely going to improve. For some of you, this could also be where maybe you buy real estate, or you get a new home, or you get a new place to live, something like this. Jupiter's going to give an opportunity for this, so please be open to it. For some of you, this could be farther, it could be at a distance from where you were born. Interesting. Let's see if, hold on a second. Oh, better balance of work and home also, right? Remember that you are really changing, okay? You have Pluto in your first house. Pluto's going through Capricorn. This is huge. It's a huge change in our own structure of self, okay? I want to gander at what Robert Hand has to say because he's a genius. He has a genius. This is also, depending on your whole chart, but as a foundational sense, this could be a very good time to also invest in property. The bubble will pop eventually, like it did before with the housing market, but it will probably continue to expand further before it does. So, don't go too far out of your own means, but recognize that maybe some of you are just thinking about long term, or like having a place to live out your life, or having a home to give to your children or family when you're gone, right? It's really thinking ahead here is an important part of this transit. Oh, here we go. It says this transit supports your domestic life, and during this period, one or another domestic problems should be cleared up. So I guess when an issue comes up, make sure that you deal with it. Okay, don't rug sweep anything. You cannot rug sweep, and if anything, I suppose, has been rug swept, you'll trip over it now, okay? Or I'll get tripped over it. It says, now the thing is if you clear it up, whatever the problems are as they arise, then what happens is something new comes in. New energy comes in, and this helps straighten it out. This is also feeling very generous and open to family. I would say that, again, this is better relations with family. And if there are any problems in this time in relation to that, I guess this could be a place of solace that some of you turn to. But remember, being any Saturnian Capricorn energy, you have to hold your own emotional security yourself, right? There's nothing wrong with being like, hey, I need put my head on somebody's shoulder, or like I need to get this off my chest, and have someone that you trust, your family, whatever, someone, soul family even, to talk to. But if there's any leaning too hard, then this will probably, the Jupiter will turn into Saturn, okay? It says there are times in your life when you have no choice but to go out into the world and forge ahead, Jupiter and Aries. At this time, however, you have a choice. If you wish to go out into the world, your personal life will not cause problems that distracts you from your quest. Okay, that's a good thing. It says, so better to concentrate your energies on your personal life rather than making it a great effort to like get ahead in the world, right? It's and And I would say, because this is personal life and this is in your family house, you want to make sure, again, that you are holding that own in yourself. Okay? But also that you know that you have your family to, however big or small that may be, that you have family, which gives you the strength. You have people that care, that is going to give you the strength to do what you need to do, right? Because, oh, this is interesting. It says land and houses are an external symbol of the desire for a stable inner world, right? From a person, for instance, that was homeless a lot of my life and meandered and vagabonded around, you know, my inner world was very insecure, very unstable. And once I found a place of stability, this is the longest house I've ever lived in. It's the longest job I've ever had. This has created such a sense of security in myself. So if any of you are in a place where you now feel that, or you have had that for a while, then you can adventure out into these new spaces. If you're looking for that security, you can find that through your own efforts and understanding, again, that you have the support. It says, if you handle this transit properly, you are not likely to ever feel alone, lost, or alienated. Security in life is a real need, and now is a time when you can do a great deal to gain it. Physical security, emotional security. It says that at the most psychological level, this transit will help you to increase your sense of inner confidence. Again, emotional security. For you are more in touch with your inner self now than at most times. And you are able to handle the truths about yourself that you are normally reluctant to face, therefore preventing them from becoming a problem in the future. What you know you are is seldom a problem. The difficulty stems from what you are afraid that you are. Okay, but beautiful. Let's back up here a little bit. You are more in touch with your inner self now than at most times. It's hard to get into an Aquarius Capricorn rising. Saturn energy there. You are now more in touch with your inner self than at most times, and you are able to handle truths about yourself that you are normally reluctant to face. And it is important to do so that they do not become a problem in the future, because what happens after this? Jupiter goes into Taurus, which is a trine to you, which creates that comfort, that Venus, that loving, beautiful energy. Okay? Okay. Aquarius. Oh, one last thing. Capricorn. I would look to your 3rd and your 5th house. This is about ability and capacity. Maybe you want to tap into these. What are your abilities? And see how they can expand into how you can expand this capacity of what you're able to do. This is also any of you who are trying to, create your own business. Also really helpful. This is also having better communication with your lovers, with your children. This is the left-right. Okay, we'll leave it like that. Aquarius, this will be in your 3rd house. It's very interesting. So, Jupiter in the 3rd house. What's 3rd house? Your neighborhood, your small circles. This is going to give you an opportunity to be able to gain without having to go very far. Okay? So wherever you reside, if you like where you are and it's healthy, then that's going to be really beautiful. If you don't like where you are, I suppose you could move. But most of you, if you did move, you would probably move in a similar region. You're not going to go too far away, but you'll be close by to that which you've already built a community with, okay? Or for some of you even, you could expand in your neighborhood, in your smaller circle communities that find blessings in that. Let's see here. I guess finances, like looking at financial things about home as your second, fourth house is highlighted. This is sort of your left, right. You know, what would you like to change? What are the changes that need to be adjusted in relation to your own I was just thinking about doubting Thomas, right? It's like that story, I guess, is the way I'm remembering it, is like where someone didn't believe something was true until they actually saw it. You know, like they really had to, like, scientifically, maybe Thomas was like a Aquarius or something, like scientific, you know, kind of like, I don't believe it. It's not a miracle. And it's like, yeah, dude, it's a miracle. It's whether you believe it or not. And I guess for you, because this is talking about your map, this is whether you believe in your heart that you were worth it. That, interesting. Let's look at this, Aquarius, just a second. I have to split this up, sorry. Okay, we're back? Yes. Okay, Aquarius. Let's look at what Robert Hand says, because again, so intelligent. Okay, it says, first of all, it is quite likely that through your everyday life you will receive an opportunity for advanced training in a field of study that could be useful to you. Your concern with communication will increase, and you may even do some writing. That could also be a way, I suppose, of creation. There could be extended travel necessary for some. And actually travel, again, sort of traveling outside of your little circle, especially if any of you have been, again, in this really tight little place. It's like expand out a bit. You know, maybe even go further than you have in a way, because this is also going to help you to understand more about the world or more about yourself. Okay? I would also say this is a house of siblings. This could be where relationships with siblings could be a bit better. And I suppose you could gain financially through that, but that isn't necessarily the point. Okay, here we go. It says, perhaps more importantly, the long run here is about the possible effect upon your mind and consciousness. Old thought patterns, attitudes that you have adopted more or less unconsciously, or that you don't think very much about consciously, will be broadened and expanded, right? Just like Capricorn said, it is being able to see these truths in yourself that you couldn't before, right? Whether this would be your own value or that which you hide from yourself. It says your thinking will be less subject to the limitations imposed by these attitudes. Consequently, your attitude toward the world around you will be much more generous, understanding, and tolerant of other people's differences. Which will help because this will lessen any prejudice, right? Plans for the future are also really important here, and you want to look far and wide about the future, okay? It also says to not commit yourself to any projects that you cannot fulfill, right? Don't say that you can when you won't. Keep it honest. It says, as a general rule, communication with others is much better now, and you are able to say what's on your mind and are less subject to failures of communication. This is also being a bit more frank about talking about problems, which is a really good thing, because sometimes, again, the emotional part of any Saturnian energy is hard to get into. Just a second. This could also be where some of you actually go to get your degree. I don't know if we talked about that, like a degree in something or some sort of certificate in learning could also be very helpful. Even if it's just for your own, you know, you just want to learn more about something, whether it has to do with your job or it has to do with a creative thing that you're doing, or again, it could be a class about communication, what have you. Just being able to better yourself in some kind of way. Interesting. Okay. I guess we're going to leave it like that. Oh, one last thing. I'm sorry. Oh, no, we talked about it. 2 and 4. Guess you could look back to when you were 24 also. All right, Pisces, last but not least. Pisces, hi. Okay, so Pisces, for you, this is in your second house. I don't know where this voice came from, but it's pretty exciting. That was cute. Good. Good. So, Jupiter in the second house in a very fundamental way, definitely a place of gaining financially. Although sometimes what this comes from is someone passing away, like gaining in ways of inheritance. So it's one of those things where like you could gain, but you'd have to let go to have what's coming to you. It depends again on the full setup here of what we're looking at, but just something to be aware. I guess where you want to gain or where you're going to gain, you're going to have to let go of something, right? If you're again, you can't receive with closed fist. You got to let go of something to grab on. And I guess whatever it is that you value, what's important to you, yeah, it's all about value. Whatever it is that you feel is of value is what is going to expand. Right, for instance, if you're wanting, if what is valuable to you at this time and important to you would be, say, money or the physical world, things of this nature to create this kind of security, well then, possessions, what have you, then that can be something that you can increase through. Say you want it to be, goes back in your wants. It's like, say you want to increase spiritually or in your self-esteem in this internal world, then, say of ideas or your sense of morality or what have you, that is also something that dimension can also be something that expands. Okay. Just a second. Okay. It is very important at this time for you to understand how to use your resources. Okay? Because the chances is that you will indeed receive more of whatever you want. This also is that Saturn and Pisces. Remember, whatever it is that you are wanting, Saturn will give it to you. Whatever it is that you're wanting, Jupiter will give it to you. So be careful what you want. You know what I mean? Or at very least be aware. We'll back it up in the positive. Be aware of what it is that you want. If someone says to you, what do you want, Pisces? And you're like, I don't know. If you're in that stage, you got to fine tune that a little bit. Because you'll probably miss the opportunity. Do you know what I'm saying? So, because this could also be a mismanagement of resources with this transit if you are not clear about what you need and want. It says it is very easy to get so much of something that it runs your life instead of making your life more pleasant and fulfilling. It says what you must do at this time in your life is to look at your overall goals honestly. And to see what you really must have in order to achieve them, right? Say you want a house, well, you need this much for a down payment, right? Or maybe you need to make your credit better so you can get the loan so you can get the house. Well, start working on that, right? Say you want to be in a relationship, but you're hung up about your ex. or you want a healthy sexual relationship, but you've been cheated on, or you got sexual trauma, well then you got to work on that, right? It's just being aware. Let's read that again. What you must do at this time in your life is to look at your overall goals honestly and to see what you really must have in order to achieve them, right? You want to be a teacher? Well, you need a degree to do that. Okay. You know, how do you take it's a practical, it's the Saturnian nature. It says because the cool thing is it will be relatively easy to make the necessary changes in your resources, what you need or what you have, to have you help you attain your goals. So plan these changes wisely. It says this is not a call for total asceticism. If you want to buy something that is very expensive, perhaps a bit self-indulgent, oh, this is interesting. It says there is no reason why you should not go after it. Just make sure that you really want it. And that it is not merely a symbol of something you think you want. It says many people acquire possessions, and people simply because they think they are expected in order to show social status. To acquire for reasons of this sort would be truly a waste. Although the material resources can give great comfort, you can derive a great deal of real and honest pleasure from them, right? And I guess in a larger sense, again, this is about learning about yourself. And through encountering possessions, right, or money or resources or whatever this is, it's like how to handle that, right? Again, for some people, this could be an inheritance that comes to you and maybe someone doesn't know what to do with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, not that anyone's expecting anything. It's just like someone may not know what to do because they don't have goals. It's like if you have the goal, God hears you. And you keep walking the path of faith, and then things will come to you that could make your dreams come true. And so you want to be aware of what those goals are, okay, again, and recognize if it's something that you really want or if it's something that you just think that you want. I guess a good way to determine that is for you to ask yourself, like Virgo said, why do you want what you want once you get there, right? It says managing the material world will be of great value in promoting self-understanding, right? Think about people that are hoarders and they have all this stuff. Their house is just full of shit. You know, no offense. I try not to cuss, but that's kind of what it is. It's Scorpio. Shit is Scorpio stuff. It's like not, you know, hoarding is like, okay, I have all these things, but I don't do anything with them. You know, there's a mirror into, okay, there's a lot of things here, but they're not being dealt with, right? Our physical world, our possessions are going to say a lot about us, right? What we find important. Books on the shelf, whether we have plants or not, whether the house is clean or not, how we manage our money, right, etc. It really, how we deal with our friends and interact, right? So remember, this is a period. You can invest in things, but you want to have a little self-restraint, okay? Don't be too lavish. And I suppose remember that money is also value, right? It really is. So whatever money you're receiving in this life, well, through your job or whatever, that you, in some way, I guess, earned it. But then it's like, okay, you have something. How do you use that, right? How do you take care of that? You're a sextile to Capricorn. Interesting. So you're 1 and 3. So this is you and how you communicate. That's also a big thing. This is also, just a second, Pisces. the moon in Taurus, it's expand. There's such an expansion of love too. Okay. So remember, the way you talk about other people, Pisces is gossip. We're talking to the collective here. The way you talk about other people, that is, you are talking about yourself. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be honest. Again, sometimes we got to say things that are real and a little bit harsh and what have you. But that's also understanding your own value as a person, right? And what you do, I suppose, with the possession that you have, the material thing, could also be your body in this life. Interesting. Okay. I guess that's that. Just make sure you really want it. Please figure out what you want. And I wouldn't say that word loosely, but I also would make sure, especially any of you who are very gentle creatures, it's like, if I say to you right now, what do you want, Pisces? And I mean, don't be afraid to just kind of off the cuff let it flow out. But if you got no answer for that, please figure out what that is. Because I believe, I can't see the map right now, but I'm pretty sure when Jupiter moves out of this energy and goes forward, Saturn goes into Pisces energy, which is going to reinforce and give the physical result of what you wanted, what you said you wanted in this time frame. Does this make sense? Okay. I love you so much. I hope this was helpful. I'm pretty sure no one watched all the way through. This is a really long video. But I do hope this was helpful. The last sign always gets extra. You're welcome, Pisces. Thank you, Pisces. Remember when you guys, you ladies and gentlemen, all showed up, like 40,000 of you all at once? You know, in one of the old religious stories, they say that there's this group of angels, and there are 40,000 of them. I wonder if that's who all of you are. Just all these angels showed up. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to connect, and thank you for being honest and responsible, kind and compassionate, pleasant and poised. I'll talk to you next time.